Okay, this is the second part. And the second part is what we're going to be more or less focused on this week. Okay, so the second part is going to be what we're going to start with what's called a block in. Okay, so we're going to be blocking in, right? Okay, so it's a block in. Block in is going to mean something very specific. And if you want, you can say, okay, this is the first step. Okay. Okay, so first step is you guys are gonna have images to look at, and so I'm just gonna pretend that I have an image right here, like on my computer or whatever, and so I have something very specific, okay, that I want to draw. In this case, this is supposed to be like a pear, okay, and I think the first image is a pear, okay, so So what you're going to do is you're going to start blocking this image into your pad, okay? And you're going to do several versions. You're probably going to do like 5 or 3. I mean, I'll figure out what that number is going to be later. But what you're going to do is you're going to take that shape and you're going to start out with a simple shape. So in this case, when I look at this pear, okay, hope you guys can, yeah, you can see it kind of. I should line this up this way a little bit. Okay, so you can see that's a pear. Okay, like it's supposed to be a pear, and I'll give you guys the image, of the fruit, and you'll see. So, anyway, um, turn this. Okay, so I'm I'm gonna block this in by the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna draw a simple shape. So first thing I can see is there's a line running down this way. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to mimic that line or that shape. In this case, I can kind of see that I have a cone shape here, right? So I can see that, and so I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna create a cone, and then I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna start to look for other lines that I can use, right? I can use this line, like right here. And I'm making thin lines, right? I'm making thin lines. You can use your charcoal pencil. I would not recommend the other charcoals like the compressed charcoal or the softer charcoal. You can use the other stuff, but it's got to be sharp. Okay, if I'm using this guy, which is the compressed charcoal, it's going to get a little dark, okay? So, I mean, I'm being very careful not to go dark, but for you guys, it might be a little bit, of a challenge to start out with that. But I would start out with I'm using a 2B on this guy, and if you have anything close to that, use that. But really, you can train your hand to whatever soft or hard charcoal you need to use. I would lean on a little bit, like I said, like on the harder side, not so much soft. But anyway, so what you're going to do is you're going to block this in by finding these angular lines, right? And the way to do that is you want to sort of like draw through. So this line right here, you see this line, right? I didn't do a quite good job of matching. So I'm gonna erase that line. And here we're gonna start to use our kneaded eraser, right? And so what I'm doing is I'm trying to find angles, right? This is all angles. I started out with this shape. I started out with this very, very simple shape, right? And again, so now my hand, my line work, all this stuff is starting to like work for me now, right? I'm doing long angular lines. I'm doing light lines. And I'm following simple shapes, right? I'm looking for that simple shape. And here's another line right here, right? Okay. Here's another one that's going like this, okay? So I'm going to do that. And you can go across. So if you draw this line across here, you can see where this line meets over here. This line comes almost at the top of there. So these are hints. right? I can see there's a smaller line there. There's a line here, right? This is the line I just made. And this guy, you know, you can even do a center line here, right? You can do a center, say, okay, I see in here where this falls, right? This falls here. And I can see maybe this side is a little bit too short, okay? So what you're doing is you're finding these angles and you're just gonna go nuts. You're just gonna find all these angles, but the angles gotta line up with something. It's gotta line up with this, or this, or this, right? And you can find a lot of angles, right? You can keep going. You can say, oh, here's one here, here's one there, right? So I can make those markers, right? And ultimately what you're gonna get at is that as you start to get to more or less your proportions are getting closer and closer, you're going to start kind of darkening up. You shouldn't go too fast on this. What I want to see is I want to see all the angles. I want to see like a lot of angles, okay? I want to see how close you can see those angles on those shapes, okay? There are no rounds. We're not doing anything organic. We're doing everything angle, okay? This is a block and is going to be very, very angular, okay? You're going to stick to angles as much as you can. So what you're going to do is as you get closer to the shape, you're going to basically start darkening up the lines that you see that actually are the correct ones, right? Okay, and if I need to erase some, I can do that. Okay, so I think this illustrates the point pretty clearly. I'll try to go over this a little bit more. I'll put in the stem here as well. You know, I'm going by this image, which is obviously just a made up one, but you guys get the point. So I'm looking for angles, 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 like angles. I mean, you should have angles everywhere that you need them, okay? So the point is going to be to basically take one image that I'll give you guys. I'm going to give you guys several images, and you're going to basically repeat that several times. I think I'm going to do 3. So we're going to do 3 per image, okay? So you guys are going to do, whoop, can't spell. You guys are going to do 3 block-ins per image. And this is going to be sort of things that are going to be, that we're going to start in class, and you guys are going to continue it off class, and then you'll post those things tomorrow. So I hope this makes sense. I'm going to go over this stuff just a little bit in class. And if there's any questions and things like that, we can hopefully cover those. But this should give you a good idea of what the block-in is going to be. It's about doing light lines, angular lines to get at a shape that is angular, right? We're not doing round things. We're not doing this. You know, we're not doing that. Like, we'll get there. We'll get to some of that stuff. But right now, we're doing angles, right? We're doing all these angles. Okay. So I'm being a little crude right now about it, but you guys get it. Okay. All right.